Thanks. Good morning. Andy Fecko, Placer County Water Agency. And you might ask why we care. Why does PCWA care about the BDCP and the presentation that Paul just made? So, 1 minute background. PCWA. What do? We have two major sources of supply. The Yuba River. We buy water from the Yuba River from Pacific Gas and Electric Company. We also have the citizens of this county have invested in the Middle Fork project on the Middle Fork American River. So those two combined, we have 220,000 acre-feet of water that comes down the hill every year to supply western Placer County. That supplies about 250,000 residents. And the Middle Fork project has a direct interface with Folsom Lake. And so why we care about this is that what the state of California and the federal government is proposing is to change the way that the system of reservoirs and dams in Northern California operates. And Paul had an excellent slide. He had a climate change slide there. They have predicted that sea level is going to rise a whole bunch, that snowpack is going to decrease. And what the BDCP has done is said that those are factors we can't control, and so we need to help Southern California out by getting their water out of the system early, moving it around the delta, and I applaud that. It helps Southern California's water supply reliability. But what it doesn't do is address the problem of going dry in Folsom Lake like we almost were going to do this year, and we still may do this year if we're not careful. We are dangerously close. We are running on a razor's edge this year of dropping below the municipal intakes for the city of Roseville and San Juan Water District and the city of Folsom. And it could still happen, even with the recent rains we've gotten. And so it's imperative that as the state and federal government think about a plan to replumb the delta and use the upstream reservoirs to move water from north to south, that the local water supply reliability is equivalent to the Southern California water supply reliability. What we don't want to do is trade our economic future for the continued economic existence of Southern California. That requires a rock-solid operating plan, something that all the local communities here in Placer County and the folks that rely on Folsom Lake all the way down to the city of Sacramento can believe in, can have faith that will actually be implemented, and that has definition around it. And so for us, our interest here, and what we're going to be focusing our efforts on in the BDCP is really a laser focus on how is Folsom going to be operated in the future. Can we have enough carryover storage, which is storage that you save from one winter to the next, so that you have enough water for the next summer for the region. And Paul talked about assurances. The folks that want to invest $24.7 billion in this project, what they want is assurances. They want to know that if they're going to spend this money, they're going to get the water. That's great. They're going to get a habitat conservation plan, and that means that they're going to be off the hook for ESA for a long time, for the remainder of that plan. We are not going to be off that hook. So if those species do decline, for instance, salmon and steelhead, if they do decline, they're going to still look to upstream water parties, including Sacramento and the American River parties, to provide water for those species, while we think, and our reading of this, is that the state and federal contractors who have invested this money will be off the hook. That's debatable. Paul will have a debate with me about that, but I think that's exactly how that'll play out. Because if I wrote that check, I'd expect some assurances. So that's really our focus, and I think that going forward, there is a way to make this work. Absolutely, we as a water agency understand the need for water supply reliability, and we applaud the state in taking the lead. Two things. The state needs to talk to the folks in the North State about how we're going to operate these places so that local environmental benefits and local water supply benefits are taken care of. And second, we think that if you do hold enough water in Folsom to make it through 2 consecutive or 3 consecutive dry years, that there is going to be water available. Folsom will be higher in the winter. It will likely spill more often. And when Folsom spills in a normal winter in February and March, there will be opportunities for a project like this to work to take that surplus water that's spilling and move it down to places that need it in Southern California. But to do that, we need our own assurances to keep our own local folks whole.